Hello and welcome to the Lostbhoys Podcast. My name is Chris McQuiggan and you're listening to podcast number 153 on February the 8th, 2013. Well, this week I get together with Jamie and Jerry and look forward to the Juventus match and talk about some of the things that have been going on over the last couple of weeks. I really just think Jamie wanted to phone up to tell us that he was flashing his boobs in Mardi Gras. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Okay, it is the 6th of February and I'm delighted to say on the line I have Jared Deal, Treasurer of the Calgary Celtic Supporters Club, and James Burchell from once was Lostboys.com. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, good evening to you too as well.
We're all in pretty sombre mood tonight, are we? Are we okay? It's not like it's 11 o'clock at night or anything. You Comanches live?
I think Jamie's fallen out with you, to be honest, Chris.
Jamie's fallen out with me, why? Because he wasn't on the podcast last week?
I think that would be my suspicion.
Look, lads, it's very simple. You just want to do your own. There's plenty of room in HailHailMedia for another podcast.
That's right. Jamie and Jerry.
That's it, the Jamie and Jerry
show.
That has a real good ring
to
to it. I like that. I think you should go ahead and do it.
All right, off we go. I'm okay. I'm feeling good. Actually, it was a very good podcast. I really enjoyed it. What was your favorite part of the interview?
With Gregor?
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting to hear what it was like to go from being caught up in the world of Celtic and with a lot of the feelings we have towards the Daily Record, and then how he felt whenever he went there, and he seemed to be well received and stuff. It was interesting. I thought it was very good. Very good. Enjoyed it. Gregor's always a good interview because he talks even more than I do.
I thought you enjoyed it most because you could see eye to eye with him.
Look, we're on Skype here. I can practically see eye to you. No, he's a joy, the interview. He's good fun, good guy, Gregor, But got plenty of downloads too. It's been very successful. And we might have a few other guests coming up over the next few weeks. Believe it or not, over the last 2 weeks, 6 different interviews have fallen in my lap from people that want to come on, and we've got some writers lined up. We've got at least one ex-player lined up. That's very interesting. It's sort of the way you go through peaks and troughs, where sort of we do four in a row of the Three Amigos kind of thing, and then we have the odd interview. There's lots of people wanting to come on, which is good.
Any dart players?
Actually, next week I'm going to have a guy called Stephen Sullivan coming on, and he's a freelance journalist, and he is in the process of writing the biography of Sean Fallon, and he was actually with Sean Fallon the night that he died, and he was compiling his book, so that's going to be very interesting, so I'm looking forward to that. And I talked to Stephen on Monday night, so interesting times ahead.
Good.
Yep.
There you go.
So there you are. So, gentlemen, let's get down to business. We've had a couple of games since our last podcast. We won at the weekend 3-0 away to Wraith Rovers in the Scottish Cup. And the week before that, we beat Killie 4-1. Well, midweek, we beat Killie 4-1. And value for money?
Well, then before that, we lost the ability for the treble.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Look, it's only it's a Mickey Mouse trophy whenever you're not getting the treble. It's just it's a third wheel.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that it warrants some kind of discussion because the performance was absolutely shocking.
Yes, it was the better team on the day one. I don't think I could say anything else on the contrary to that.
But it was just another schizophrenic performance by them in these cup competitions. It was wholly unacceptable. Let's put it that way.
The Hamden Hoodoo.
No kidding, eh?
Yeah, what is the deal with Hamden? Explain that. Why can't they play there?
If I had the answer to that, I'd be on the phone to Neil Lennon.
Because you know why, Jamie? Because they just can't be arsed about it.
You think so, Jerry?
Yeah, absolutely.
How could you not be arsed about the semi-final of a trophy?
You'd think, but there's too much evidence to the contrary.
Well, when you look at some of the disasters last year, in a very successful year, of course, it's starting to be a monkey on our back. But is this created by the media? Is this the new Celtic can't win away in Europe sort of thing? We got rid of that, and now they've jumped on the bandwagon of this can't win at Hampden.
I don't know. I mean, Alistair Jack, he hits me up a lot, and he said, brother, I knew we had no chance of winning that game. Well, I think a lot of people felt that way.
Well, did you? Well, okay. Let's talk a little bit about the match. So obviously we went down 1-0 to begin with after 8 minutes, and then we equalised just on the stroke of half time with Hooper. But when we came out in the second half and we won the penalty, well, probably we didn't expect them to actually score the penalty. But when we got the penalty, did you not think, okay, here we go, this will be 4 or 5?
Yeah. And if we thought that, I think the players thought that as well.
But after missing the penalty, Celtic weren't really in the match until sort of the last 5-10 minutes. They weren't. I mean, they were poor.
Well, that's what I mean. The attitude was just wholly unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at the team that they put out that day. Oh, by the way, your goalkeeper was Trunks Zaluska.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't cover him. Boy. Yeah, your boy didn't cover himself in much glory. That's for sure.
That is one bandwagon I have not jumped on.
What, to slag him or to support him?
To support him.
No, you have been pretty consistent over that, Jerry. I have to give you your dues there. But I mean,
I was asking where Survey was.
Probably lying on a beach in San Diego or somewhere.
Yeah, it might be. Or packing groceries.
But I mean, when you look at the team that we put out that day, you would expect Celtic to have won that day. I mean, it was a full-strength team, probably with the exception of Forster, Zaluska, Matthews, Izagiri, Wilson, Mulgrew, Brown, Ledley, Wanyama, Samaras, Hooper, and Lassad. I mean, it's a pretty tasty team on paper, but it just didn't get going, did it?
What's your opinion on Lassad so far?
That's a good question, man.
You go ahead then, Jerry, or Jamie. Let's hear your opinion.
No, I'm just saying he's the new whipping boy, isn't he?
I don't know if he's a whipping boy. I mean, I think he's all right. I mean, I think it's still early to sort of to judge the guy. He hasn't had that much experience playing for Celtic this year, or very many appearances, but he's okay. Jerry, you obviously asked that question for a reason.
That's I have that same opinion. He's okay, but he's obviously supplanted Miku as the number 2 or number 3 striker in the rotation. And now that Stokes is back, it'll be interesting to see where Lassad slots into things.
Mm-hmm. Although,
he showed. He showed some quality. He showed some potential. We did sign him to a 2-year contract, and I think the best is yet to come from him.
Mm-hmm. He's actually made 16 appearances. Now, 7 of those were as a sub, and he scored 3 goals. So, I mean, he's doing okay. But yeah, I think we're expecting a lot more from him moving forward. He's a different type of player to Stokes and Hooper and some of the other strikers we'll have in the team, though. He seems very, very cultured. He's very European, but nothing like Samaras.
I sort of see him as sort of a hybrid. He's not the big target man striker, but at the same time, I don't know if he's the penalty box predator that Hooper is. No,
I'd agree with that.
What does very European mean? What does that mean? Like he
couldn't be arsed.
Euro Disney. He likes to wear berets, or what are we going with there? What does that mean?
He has a man purse.
He's got a
He wins the Ryder Cup.
Brilliant.
Still stings.
You're welcome.
Speechless.
Too soon. Might be. It's still too soon.
No, he's got that sort of that way about him that's very nonchalant. I think he sort of lollops about a wee bit. I don't see him ever getting very excited. The way Samaras can give you that impression sometimes as well. He sort of, if he's in the mood, he's great, and when he's not in the mood, he's like, get there eventually. He'll do okay. He'll do okay. I don't think it's anything to worry about. So let's not dwell on the defeats. Let's look at some of the victories instead. I mean, let's not Murdo McLeod this tonight, you know.
I don't even know who Murdo McLeod is. Who the hell is Murdo McLeod?
Go ahead, Jerry.
He was a former Celtic player that now works in the media, Jamie, and he was just slagging off Celtic, especially Neil Lennon, after the St Mirren performance.
He said that the fans didn't get value for money watching this Celtic that latest Celtic performance, and that's what Lenny was getting back at the week after when they beat Kelly. You know, says, you know, do the Kelly supporters think that they didn't get value for money, or is that just saved for us? Comments like that. But it's a bit unusual for Murdo McLeod to come out and be so harsh in Celtic, isn't it?
Yeah, he sort of stays. He's certainly not a Celtic cheerleader, but at the same time, he's not overly critical like some of the former players in the media are. He usually, you know, he walks right, you know, that middle line sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think anyways.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I think he is usually more of a cheerleader than most of them, you know. I mean, especially when he's on programmes where he is the Celtic representative. I think he does sort of fight our cases most times, but these latest comments, I don't think we needed that, you know. You know, especially when you think when Murdo assisted Vim the Tim, and you know his stock as a Celtic man sort of certainly went up. You know, I mean, he was quite revered at that stage too. I thought, a good player too. Let's not take that away, but yeah, I thought his comments were a little unnecessary. Let's put it like that. So,
but that's one of the things I've sort of starting running through my head. Is Celtic coming in for much criticism this year, or is it backed off a wee bit now that there's something missing from the league?
Well, there's not very much to criticise. Yeah, you can criticise the defeat to St Mirren, right? But and they've obviously had some blips in the league as well. I mean, we haven't sort of skated the league as such, although we're starting to look like that right now. But I mean, when you look at what they've done in Europe, and you look at that, they're top of the league, and they're clear at the top of the league. They're still in the Scottish Cup. They're financially sound. They're signing players and not selling players. What's there to criticise?
Yeah. You know, we've talked in past years. It's almost, especially in the media, they go out their way to sensationalise the least little thing that happens involving Celtic, and I don't know if the same thing's happening right now.
But a lot of that, Jerry, and we've commented on that in the past in great depth. You know, when it was coming up to playing what was once Rangers, that's when the sensationalism really started. You know, but the drumbeat was there. Was every time they came into those games, that's when the downers hit the headlines, if you know what I mean. So now that that fixture is gone from our calendar this year, and now that Dundee United stuffed the Newco, and we won't even have the chance to play them this year, which I think is fantastic. I'm so happy at that. So maybe the sensationalism isn't just as relevant. Is that my paranoia?
No, not at all. That's why I was asking the question.
You wouldn't have wanted to play them this year?
No, why?
Yeah.
Oh,
likewise.
You too.
I call me an old conventionalist, but I've been enjoying Spartak Moscow and Barcelona. Looking forward to Juventus. You know, I've enjoyed playing in a competitive league. So I mean, what are we missing? I don't see the gap.
Fair enough for European football. Fair enough, but you know, a competitive league's kind of funny. But okay.
It would have just been made out to be, you know, you can imagine what the media circus would have been like surrounding a game like that, and it would have been artificially promoted as, you know, the return of what was once known as the old firm, But that doesn't exist anymore. And that would have just aggravated me to no end. Plus, I wouldn't want to give them any of the revenue from that game.
Do you know when it hit me, Jerry? When I was thinking about no Rangers matches this year, right? And I look back to the last encounter we had with them ever, last season, when we won 3-0 at Celtic Park. Even in that game, the atmosphere was flat. And I don't know if I would be that excited to play Rangers this year.
And that's what I'm trying to get at. I wouldn't have seen it as we're playing Rangers. I'd have seen it as we're playing a third division team.
Well, they actually played like a third division team at the weekend against Dundee United and got an absolute horsing, you know. And that would be the only thing you would hope for, you know, okay, let's go and give them a horsing. But when we beat them 3-0 in the last match at Celtic Park, I mean, that was a horsing as well. And it was a bit hollow, I thought.
And it wouldn't have been promoted as, you know, Celtic against a third division team. They'd have got equal publicity for the game. And it would have been totally unwarranted.
Well, bloody hell. Cali are second in the Premier League at the minute, and they probably get a tenth of the coverage that Rangers do right now in the third division, because they've got that clown coming out talking. If it's not freaking Chuckles, it's freaking the Walrus.
All right.
Enough about them.
They rebounded quite well during the week in the league match against Kilmarnock, so you had to be happy with that, I think. Huh?
Well, I think the last two games Celtic have been very impressive. You know, I thought the Wraith Rovers match took a while to get going. It took a penalty, but that by no means that we're going to actually score the penalty. But Commons took a textbook penalty. It was Burchell-esque.
Yeah, very much.
And then Forrest scored a lovely goal and Charlie scored a beauty from outside the box. But, you know, the two performances, the second half performance, particularly against Wraith, and the second half performance against Killie in the 4-1 match, was maybe as good as Celtic have been domestically this year. They seem to have that wee spark back, didn't they?
But don't lie, when Commons walked up to that penalty, which was kind of a gift, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You puckered. I puckered. I went, oh, God. How many different people are going to take this penalty? That's what I'm yelling at the screen. I don't know what you yelled, but I was a little shocked, and I'm glad. Good for him. Great shot. Very Burchell-esque.
Well, that Commons, he's hit his past 2 in a row, 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think the one against St Mirren taken by Charlie was taken by Charlie because Commons wasn't on the pitch. You know, I mean, if he had been there, I'm sure he would have taken it. But hey, there we go. Lessons learned. So, I mean, I think when we look at what's coming up, we've got Cali on Saturday for the early kickoff. We've got the noon kickoff away to Cali. Top of the table clash, first against second. And then Tuesday night, we've got the old ladies in town, you know. It's lovely. This is good. I'm enjoying my football again, and I've said this so many times throughout the season. I'm enjoying this season. So, to go back to your original point, Jimmy, I don't miss them whatsoever.
No, I'm enjoying the hell out of the season. How can you not? I mean, they're in the Sweet 16, if you will. I mean, that's pretty badass. I mean,
so let me ask you this. You know, I mean, there's lots of podcasts that have analysed all the games and all the rest of them. We're a wee bit sort of late in the game here. So let's talk about it. Let's look forward and talk about a few things coming up. So I wanted to talk to you tonight about Juventus. So after the exploits so far in the Champions League, if we were to beat Juventus and go into the next round, is that a bigger scalp than Barcelona in the group stages?
Well, it probably is. Because it's a two-legged affair, whereas the Barcelona game was one game of 6. I don't think Juventus is a better team than Barcelona, but the significance of the achievement, I think, would be bigger.
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
If Tuesday Celtic beat Juventus, would Rod Stewart cry? And that answers your question. If you think Rod Stewart would cry, then it's pretty big. If you don't think Rod Stewart cries, then it's not as big.
I think it was the whole romance of Barcelona. There's something special about Barcelona, and beating Barcelona was magnificent. But you're right, Jerry. The occasion and the fallout that we would have if we were able to get past Juventus would be absolutely gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
now, you're talking going into the quarterfinals of Champions League, the European Cup.
Yeah, I mean it's Roy the Rovers stuff, isn't it?
You know, considering last August we were debating whether Celtic would even qualify for the group stages. So,
I know. But when you look at Barcelona's record before they came to play Celtic, they hadn't lost all season. Sure, they hadn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when you look at Juventus's last 4 games, now the one at the weekend they beat Chivas 2-1, but the previous 3 games to that, Lazio beat them 2-1. They drew with Genoa 1-1, and they drew with Lazio 1-1. And when you look through the team list, I had a quick squint at it tonight just before I came on, and not being an expert in Italian football in any way, but I'm not an expert in Spanish football in any way either, but I knew every player in the Barcelona team. I picked out of Juventus Buffon and Pirlo, and after that I was kind of struggling.
As long as they've got Pirlo, he pulls all the strings, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, he's been on bleating in the press this week too, hasn't he?
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Well, he's been on saying Celtic Park doesn't scare Juventus, which either it should, but it might make them think twice. But the very fact that Juventus have struggled a wee bit this year, although I think they're still top of the division now. The last time we looked, anyway, they were. I'm more optimistic of us getting a result against Juventus than it was against Barcelona. I mean, we wrote off the 2 Barcelona matches in the Champions League qualifier groups, wrote them off completely.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're sort of maybe our ambitions sort of taking over a wee bit, and I'm starting to think we've got a chance here.
You're great.
I do as well, because as I said, we saw AC Milan in the last 16, and Pirlo was in that side, and it took, I've mentioned it 2 or 3 times now, it took, extra time goal by Kaká to get them through that time. Anything's possible in these 2-legged affairs.
Do you not think, though, Jamie, that we need to get something in Glasgow in the first match to take to Italy, because our record in Italy leaves a lot to be desired?
Well, I think you got to win, right? You got to get those. You got to get the win at Celtic Park.
Yeah, well, a win, or would you take 0-0 right now?
That was going to be my question. What is the strategy? Do you play for nothing each, or do you play to get a couple of goals? What do you do?
I can't see very many goals in the game at all, even over the 2 legs. I think if we got 0-0 at Celtic Park, that'll be a good result to go to Italy with. As long as Juventus don't score in Glasgow. If Juventus score in Glasgow, we're in a lot of trouble.
I totally agree with that. I'd rather take nothing each than 1 each, but if we're not going to score, then we have to make sure that they don't score as well.
Mm-hmm. Although that's not to say that I don't think we could sneak a wee 1-0 win in Glasgow.
Where do you see that? How do you see that coming?
Well, when I look back at the Barcelona match, and certainly Juventus are a different side of Barcelona, I just thought that some of the homework that Celtic had done on Barcelona, I thought we played very, very well in both legs, in both games. I thought we looked at how Barcelona played. We paid an awful lot of attention to how they succeed, and the very fact that we packed the middle of that defence and let them go wide told me that somebody's doing their homework here. And if we do the same sort of research on Juventus, which no doubt we've done, I just get the feeling that maybe there might be a wee clink in the armour. They're obviously not unbeatable when you look at their last lot of results,
Mm-hmm.
And they're not scoring an awful lot of goals either.
Mm-hmm.
And they're conceding goals. So I just think we've got a chance. We've had a wee bit of luck in Europe this year, on occasions, and maybe just with the strikers that we have, we've got very, very good quality strikers. We get a chance to score.
Mm-hmm.
So anything's possible. And I genuinely think that we could get something in Glasgow. How brilliant would that be?
Can I ask you a question? I feel every time we line up for a corner kick, I feel like we're going to score.
A corner for Celtic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember feeling that way? I remember sitting upstairs at your house here, right? And going, why can't we ever score at a corner?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's when the Greek came in. And now you're looking at it, I just feel, you know what? Wanyama's going to knock this in.
Big Victor. People miss him. He arrives in at that back post so often, you know.
Well, between Wanyama, even Samaras, even Ambrose, which I might get into in a second, there's a lot of guys capable of knocking in with their head.
Mm-hmm. Charlie Mulgrew. Yeah, we're very, very dangerous from set pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to remember too, we're playing an Italian team, you know, and they're renowned for their defence. And I don't think Celtic have ever won in Italy, have they?
No, and that's the strength of Juventus, as I see them, as they've just got a very solid midfield, and they just manage to suffocate people and just strangle them, and then they'll pop up in the 85th minute with a goal and win 1-0. That's my sense of them these days.
The stereotype Italian 1-0 win, huh?
Mm-hmm. They've signed Nicholas Anelka.
Yeah, did he come from China or somewhere? Is that where he was before this? So is he eligible then?
That's a good question. I don't know if he is or not. That's a good question, Chris.
I don't know.
You'd think we'd do some research before we talk about these things.
I thought I was doing dead good. They're having their last 4 results and all here. Here's me. God, what about that? That's sheer quality for a podcast. You never get that in the Lost Boys.
You never get what?
Since that boy hung up his pen and became a celebrity. Jerry, you and I used to have just all these facts and figures presented to us.
That's right. Didn't I used to be a stat boy?
Do you remember
that? Was your nickname.
That was my nickname.
That's how you get wormed into this, Jimmy.
That's right. I used to give you stats.
So obviously we're getting ahead of ourselves talking about the Juventus match. We've got Cali on Saturday, noon kickoff, away up there. They're second in the table. They've dropped a wee bit of form lately. Could our attention be kind of Tuesday night on Saturday?
I always hate those games up there to start with.
Yeah. We always struggled up until sort of this season, last season.
Quick question. Do they have grass?
Yeah.
Okay.
At this time of the year, that's a difficult question.
But do you think the focus will be on Tuesday night? It's hard to see how it's not going to be, isn't it?
It's tough to see. You know, that's not going to be a look ahead. Sorry, Jared, but you know what I mean. We've talked about this before. That's a tough game.
Yeah, I can see that being a tough game too. They get beat by St Mirren as well there during the week. Yeah, they lost to Kilmarnock 2-0 in the Scottish Cup on Saturday, and then they lost to St Mirren last week 2-1, and then they drew 1-1 with Hearts the week before that. So they haven't won like in about 4 weeks. But that means nothing whenever it comes to playing Celtic, I suppose.
Butcher always has them well up for those games, and he has them well organised.
Mm-hmm.
He's, say what you want about him, he's not that bad of a manager, actually.
He's all right.
As I said, say as what you want about him.
So you bring up a good point earlier on there. Big Ambrose won't be back then. What about that?
Because they're through to the final, huh?
They sure are. That's Sunday, right?
Remember we talked about that if they get to the final.
I know.
Oh, it's been so brilliant too. I've been watching every game. And wow.
What do you think of that Ivory Coast team, Jimmy?
Brilliant. I don't know. I don't even think you can find information on the internet if you wanted to. An article, can you?
Are you more of a Mali supporter or Burkina Faso?
If you're watching it, Dale, I'm flying up there.
I tell you what, there was some countries in there that I wouldn't be able to put my finger on the map and find them.
No.
I'm American. I could barely find Scotland on a map.
God sake, you couldn't find Louisiana on the map.
That's probably true.
Here, I saw your photograph at Mardi Gras, Jimmy. You got plenty of beads on. The old boobs must have been well out, were they?
We went to the family parade, Jackie.
Sure you did.
I had the boys with me and Janine, but we went. It was funny because Galveston has a Mardi Gras as well, right? And it's kind of like Mardi Gras light, right? So we went to I wanted the boys to go and Janine, so we went to the 12 o'clock parade, and then there's a 6 o'clock parade. So when we were leaving around 4:35, you could see people lining up for the 6 o'clock, in quotes, adult parade. And let me tell you, I wanted to stay for that parade, obviously, and have Janine really earn those beads, but she wasn't for that. So,
dear Janine, I need to go and get some bait for tomorrow morning. I'll be back in a couple of hours.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked out. But good fun. And as you saw as you saw the picture, I've lost a bunch of weight, young man.
Well, you had your hoops on, they're not very flattering.
I did not. I wanted to wear the hoops, but once again, you've got me paranoid to wear the hoops out in public. So
is Mardi Gras not for the beginning of Lent?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be on Fat Tuesday, right? Which is supposed to be next Tuesday.
Jeez, Easter's awful early this year, isn't it?
Well, no, it's only because Galveston's a week earlier.
Okay. Because when I saw you down there, I thought, no, couldn't be Mardi Gras already.
Listen, these Texans don't really understand what's going on much. So,
are you joking me with a Mexican population in Texas?
Yeah, but Mardi Gras is purely. First of all, that was racial, and secondly,
was it racist?
Mardi Gras is more of a Cajun thing, so that's really comes more from Louisiana.
I'm gonna have to phone Dominic Kinnear and find out the truth.
He's Catholic, but I'm telling you, he's not. I don't know if he's Cajun Catholic to tell you what the difference is. What you should do is call the New Orleans Supporters Club and ask Patrick there what the deal is. But I'm pretty confident. Anyway, it was a great time, and the weather couldn't have been prettier. 70 degrees, absolutely gorgeous. And I almost threw up on my son on one of these rides. There's this thing called this is pathetic, but it's called the Pleasure Pier.
Uh-oh.
I swear to you, that's the name of this place.
I don't know where this is going.
No, it's the worst name for a place ever, but we went, and it's just a pier with roller coasters and such. And I almost threw up on poor Colin from this twirly ride, but
that would teach him.
But the fact it's called the Pleasure Pier it's a poor choice of words. Poor name. Bad name. But great place.
So, okay, so before we get back on the football then, so we're all geared for Lent. I mean, what are you doing for Lent? We have this discussion every year. This is as annual as the Lost Boys get.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I don't know. I thought about giving up something boring like chocolate or something. No, see, I fail, so I'm going to try something a little easier.
That's old school. It's old school to give stuff up. The new Lent is do something extra.
Do something extra.
Yes.
Well, that could be good for Janine. I mean, it's been 15 years. A little something for the effort. So I'll make sure to play this for her.
What about you, Jared?
Just the usual.
Oh, yeah, that's not anything extra, is it? It's just the usual.
Drinking?
What's that?
Did you give up drinking again?
Of course.
Good for you, Jared.
Next Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, and one of my colleagues, she's having a retirement party that day, and I won't be able to eat and I won't be able to drink. Who schedules a retirement party on Ash Wednesday?
Do you fast the whole day?
Jimmy, he's not allowed to eat and he's not allowed to drink. That only leaves one thing.
Yeah, there he goes.
And she's retiring.
Good on you, Dale.
Actually, I fast every Friday during Lent.
Do you really?
Yes.
I don't think you have to do that anymore.
I done that in Texas, hey boy.
No, you didn't.
Yes, and I only had fish too. Although I only eat fish most Fridays anyway. Anyway.
Well, that's true.
All right, so let's get back to a few wee interesting topics. We've done a lot about Celtic here, and we're not going to be on for too long tonight because I need to go to bed. So let's have a wee chat about the transfer window closing. We ended up we got 2 more players in and didn't lose any of the stars. Has the transfer window changed for us? Because we seemed more worried about losing Hooper or getting an offer in the last minute for one of our more established players, and all the talk about signing players was sort of a bit of a dead duck, wasn't it?
Well, I was going to ask you that because Jamie and I had a brief conversation about it. Was it last week, Jamie, or the week before? We were talking about
I think it was on the last day, right? Because we were going back and forth.
That's right. It was a day before the deadline, and were you getting nervous? Any of you getting nervous that Hooper might have left?
I don't know if I was nervous, even if he had left, which was strange.
Come on, I was nervous as hell.
If we had lost Gary Hooper and we had got 9 million, 10 million quid, I would have said, all right, disappointing because of the Champions League, but hey, we'll get over it. Right, I think we also had the likes of Kevin Doyle lined up if that had happened. Now, obviously, that didn't materialise, and Kevin Doyle is probably not a Gary Hooper, but he's not bad. But we also have some quite good strikers at the club. I was more worried about Hooper leaving and somebody else leaving. Like if Hooper had went and then Victor had went or Forster had went, then I would have been upset.
Mm-hmm.
So did the club show ambition by rejecting those offers from Norwich?
Sometimes you think of ambition as going out and buying somebody, but sometimes your ambition is to hold on to them, even though you know that they could command, a significant fee. It's ambitious to hold on to them sometimes, isn't it?
I don't really remember the last time we rejected an offer of multiple millions of pounds for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that changed as well. And I think the attitude of the club, the gamble they're taking this year is holding on to Hooper.
I see him leaving in the summer.
And that's fine, Jerry. I mean, I think if Gary Hooper leaves in the summer and we command a few million quid for him, I don't think we can complain about that.
No. Does his price go up or down in the summer, or does it stay the same?
Well, that all depends on the Champions League.
Obviously he's going to only be on 12 months left on his contract as opposed to the 18, but I don't see the price changing that much. And if he does have a good performance against Juventus and perhaps even later on, then obviously the price might just go up a wee bit more.
And you are risking injury. You're right. I mean, God forbid anything happens there. Just like what's his name? What was that? Izzy.
Gary Hooper has scored 74 goals out of 119 appearances for Celtic.
Wow.
That's a hell of a return, isn't it?
That's that boy. Look at that stat boy.
So can he get another 26 between now and the end of the season?
Of course he can.
If you're that close, do you want to stay on and get that 100?
I don't know. I don't know if that'll be enough to make me stay.
No, I don't think so, yeah.
I think one of the main factors on Gary Hooper staying at Celtic as well is that it was Norwich that came in for him.
Mm-hmm.
If it had been a more household name came in for him, I think the temptation might have been a wee bit more. And I think he would have went to Celtic to come on.
Tottenham were sniffing around as well.
Yeah, but I don't think it was an official bid or anything, though,
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying if Arsenal comes?
Yeah, I think if one of the big ones from the EPL came in and he thought he would have a chance to actually play in the side, the discussions might have been different. But he seems happy enough to have stayed. And he's not like one of these players, oh, we're not selling you, and he goes on gardening leave for 2 months and takes a hump, Although
he's been brilliant. He really has. He said all the right things, and
he wasn't brilliant against Kilmarnock. He missed a bloody barrel full.
No, he did, but a lot of people missed.
He missed that one from 5 feet away.
I thought it was brilliant when Stokes scored too, and he sort of looked over at him, and I was laughing because I tweeted at the time, Anthony Stokes says to Gary Hooper, "That's how you do it, son."
I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back, exactly.
I'm glad Stokesy got that goal, though. That was awesome.
Yeah, so that was my point, Jerry, when you were saying about was I worried about Hooper going? We've got options up front.
No, that's fair enough, but boy, you sure will miss him.
But I'm glad he's dead.
Okay, but I mean, look at the other guys that we've lost recently, right? That we signed and traded away. Do you miss any of them as much as you would miss Gary Hooper? Do you miss Aiden as much as you would miss Cooper? No.
No.
Okay. No. So fair is fair. I mean, Aiden, there's going to be a massive hole, striker that we are going to lose this summer.
In saying that, Aiden had to go because we did need the money. Right, because the whole team needed replaced at that stage. Well, practically the whole team. And the money we got for Aidan McGeady went a long way to setting up the team we have today. But I don't think we're in that situation right now because we don't need 10 million quid as much as we did need 10 million quid 3 seasons ago. Is that fair?
Very.
And we are in the last 16 of the Champions League. We will get a windfall from that. So there's money coming, and I just thought that the fact that they rejected the bids showed a wee bit of ambition, but I also think that Gary Hooper maybe had a role to play in that as well.
I was having a good conversation with Graham from Beyond the Waves, my fraternity brother, Fi. There you go, Graham. And he said, he liked the discussion that we were having about the home team discount. And, you never know. You just never know. I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion that he's gone.
Oh, the other dynamic, and I don't know if it's had much discussion, is how close he is to the England setup. And if he's playing in the EPL, I think he's a shoo-in to get in the England squad. Whereas if he stays in the SPL, he's got a lot more. It's a bigger hurdle for him to get in the England side, I think.
Yes, but I also think that the England team, you looked at the team that played Brazil tonight, when you've got Rooney there, they have options up front as well, and I think there's a bit of a snobbery level associated with the England team as well. I think it can depend on the team that you play for, whether you get to play for England or not.
That's what I mean.
But I mean, I don't know if even if he went to the EPL and he played for Norwich, he would have better chance than if he was playing for Celtic.
Right.
Right.
When you look at England played tonight, they had Walcott, Cleverley, Welbeck, and Rooney started. They also had a few options on the bench as well. I don't know whether Gary Hooper is going to get a chance for England just yet, unless he went to a Liverpool or somebody like that.
You see the young Australian boy Rogic. He got much praise. Was it last night or the night before with the under-20 team? There were glowing reports about him.
He scored 2, didn't he? He scored at least 1. There was a question mark over the other one, I think, just from what I was reading on Twitter.
So he seems like he's the real deal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him play. I'm not basing it on anything I've seen. It's just the media reports about him. I'd read that Neil Lennon had said Rogic could play in the EPL right now, and he's only 20. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, he's 20, and this year he played 24 games and scored 5 goals. So that sort of age group is definitely something that is obviously our pattern moving forward. And again, that goes back to the rebuilding job that Lennon has done since he's come in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at the transfer window, and I was saying earlier on about worrying about players going out, but the players that we have that we would be able to sell for a sizable amount of money are in their prime. It's good right now. There's no old boys in the team. We're developing talent ourselves, you know.
Well, Brown and Samaras are
Yeah.
They're the two oldest in the team right now, are they not?
Yeah.
And you still think of Scott Brown as being a young player?
Yeah.
Really?
I do.
He looks old. Maybe I'm just having a huff because all these hot girls on Twitter all love a Bruni, and I'm kind of done with it. But he looks like a bald old man. He kind of looks like you, Dale, quite frankly.
Well, they're both 28.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, they're both 27. They'll be 28 this year.
Me and Scott Brown.
You and Scott Brown, Jerry.
Brown does look older than 27. Not that who the hell am I? But he does look a little older, and he's been good. So I'm not complaining. He's solid.
The only criticism I have of Scott Brown is he needs to wear long sleeve shirts. His tattoos are terrible looking. And what's Charlie Mulgrew done to his arms? Has he got the red Indian ink out or something there, or a big barrow?
Yeah, it's like did they bring someone in the locker room to do them? I mean, guys, spend a little money. Get some professional tattoos.
Yeah, bloody Ray George or somebody must be doing them. Some blind bloke must be doing them because they're hectic looking.
They look like jailhouse tats.
That's what I was saying. It's the same guy that's cutting Gary Hooper's hair.
He cuts all their hair by the looks of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know what? All this is going to change. Once Snoop Lion takes over, we're going to have a hell of a lot more, pizzazz. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Like, you wouldn't get away with flashing those tattoos in Las Vegas at the convention, so you wouldn't. Lying around the pool, everybody be pointing and shouting at you.
Yeah, look at that. And there's a tattoo parlor in the Riviera. Which has to be the worst on the entire strip. I would rather go there than get them from some of these guys where they're getting theirs.
You know what we're doing this year, Jamie? I'm getting a shave this year.
Yeah. From Tony Bennett, or what was that guy? Elvis?
What was his name?
I don't know.
Dean Martin. No, it wasn't Dean Martin. It's like Newton. What's his name? Dean Newton?
The great Vincenzo or something?
Oh, no.
You got to tweet that, Jerry. You got to tweet that picture of me getting from the tannest and weirdest looking dude on the strip. But it was a lovely...
All right, the Wayne Newton.
That's him.
That's right.
I tell you what, when he cut my hair, I was never as worried in all my life, sitting there in the seat when he whipped out the cutthroat razor. There's nobody around. I was thinking of Criminal Minds all over the place here.
I got a nice shave from the guy. It was lovely. He was rubbing my face.
But Jimmy, was it worth the 4 hours of sitting in the chair and I'm telling you his whole life story?
No, it was probably a whole half an hour ordeal. Getting a straight shave is awesome. I enjoy it.
Yeah, we're going to do that this year.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just the two of us, Jay.
Oh, it would be special. The Jamie and Terry show. Real quick, I know because we're winding up. My parents were on a cruise last week, right? And my mother goes down to the pool and she sees a guy in hoops. So my mother's like, well, she's tired of Jim, her husband, my father, getting all the attention for being a squatter, basically a stalker of hoops. So she decides, I'm going to go down there. And she met a guy, and he said he knows the Lost Boys, he listens all the time. And she goes, well, hold on, I'm going to go get my phone to take a picture. Then by the time she got back, he was gone. So she said he listens every week, and I just wanted him to write in or tweet us and just say hello and introduce yourself, and thanks for being so nice to my mother.
Your mommy and daddy always meet Celtic supporters no matter where they go.
I know. Well, they're so proud of their son, and the 5 downloads we get a week, and No, they think I'm like a celebrity, which of course, I am not.
You are to me, Jamie. You're my celebrity. Where'd you go?
Oh, I pulled something. Sorry.
As usual.
Yeah.
I pulled the my mic out.
That's next week, yeah.
Think well of it, Jamie. It's all going to stop.
Anyways, it's all's good. Yeah, my parents love looking out and stalking on hoop. All right.
What do you think of the Super Bowl, Jamie?
Oh, for God's sake!
Oh, it was brilliant. It was a great game, right? First half sucked, and only what you talking about the halftime show?
Just the game.
It was a great game. I really liked it.
Yeah. Turned out a great game.
It was a little ridiculous. Only New Orleans can screw up power. Bunch of morons.
See if that had happened in the SPL game, Jimmy, you just would have shaken your head and went, "Damn amateurs!"
Oh, of course, I would have gone Euro idiots. Can't make power.
Bloody Scottish League.
Scottish League can't grow grass. But if it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to happen in New Orleans, and not even the New Orleans CSC can argue that. Morons. Not the New Orleans CSC, but
sorry, Stephen.
Sorry, Stephen.
Well, actually, that was just my segue into because we're at the end of the NFL season. That was my segue to thank our good pal at NFL Celts on Twitter, Mr. McFun, for organising the NFL Celts NFL Fantasy Football League that we had this season.
Who won it? Who won it?
Thank you very much to Michael for that.
Who won it?
Jimmy, who won it?
Jerry Dale, who won it? That's who won it. Way to go, Jerry.
Thanks for that $5 there, Jerry.
You are welcome.
Fortuitous luck. That's what it was.
But I know if anyone plays fantasy sports, the way this was set up was not easy. I mean, Jerry won out of 20 people?
Right.
That's brutal. So congratulations. Well done. Way to bring the title home to the Lost Boys.
He is a genius, Jimmy. He's the genius.
Stat boy.
He's the brains behind this outfit, that's for sure.
All right. I'm just the looks.
Oh, God, we're doomed.
The real... Oh.
Well, look at you two.
What did I do?
Yeah,
in comparison, I am the good-looking one.
Yeah, okay. Did your mommy tell you that? Gentlemen, I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll have a pretty short one tonight. We're going to cut this down to about an hour this evening because it's very late here, and we will be back in a week or two. How's that? Don't shout at me. We'll be back, and well, of course, we do have Juventus on Tuesday night. Ooh.
How about contingent upon that? We'll talk about when the next podcast will be.
Yeah, because that never works out. Sure, doesn't it?
No,
I haven't even. I haven't figured out my work schedule for next week. I'm going to have to schedule some kind of appointment out at the office next Tuesday.
12:45 in the afternoon for you, Gerard.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen.
I'll easily have a meeting. I said I'll easily have a meeting. It's already on the books for next Tuesday, so that will be fantastic.
Wearing the hoops into work again, Jimmy?
Done deal, pal. I don't care what you say. You're not bringing me down, McGuigan. I'm wearing the hoops.
I'm proud of you, son. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Especially with that mirror image of the sponsor, and that, I don't know where you got that. Some flea market up around somewhere in North Houston, did you?
No, actually, my friends went to Disney World, and they saw the hoops at the Disney World shop and bought them for me.
Was that in Paris?
No, it's in the real one in Orlando.
All right, gentlemen, going to scoot on. Good night and God bless you. It's been a pleasure as usual.
Good night, fellas. God bless you.
So there you are, lads and lasses. That's us for another week. Remember that the Football Fancast feed no longer works, and you need to subscribe to the HailHailMedia feed on iTunes if you want to get the podcast every week. feel free to spread that around and let people know, because no doubt we'll get a whole lot of emails going, oh, haven't heard you guys in ages, have you stopped doing the podcast? Well, no, we haven't stopped doing the podcast. We don't intend to stop doing the podcast either. As I said earlier on in the conversation with the boys there, I've got about 5 or 6 interviews. In fact, I have 6 interviews lined up over the next lot of weeks, so I'll fit them in around the odd 3 amigos as well, and you'll have plenty of content from the Lost Boys. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at the Lost Boys. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Lostboy. Jamie Burchell is at Jamie Burchell, and Jerry is at Spartan Boy. You can also send us an email at lostboys@gmail.com. We're on the Facebook page. HailHailMedia.com carries all of the blogs and all that kind of good stuff as well. So there you are. We'll have a podcast next week for definite, and I'll talk to you all then. Playing us out as usual, Charlie and the Boys, and the Song of the Lonesome Boatman. My name's Chris McQuiggan. Talk to you all next week. Cheers.